It is time for week 8 of the NFL season. Last week, I asked you guys to send me your opinions on my takes through my email. I got some of your responses. I'm putting that email back in the description. Send me audio message or videos, but only the audio of the video will be used, and I'll respond to your takes in next week's episode. But now, getting into this week, week 8, number 32 is the Jets. This offense is looking the last few weeks incapable of putting up yards, points, terrible. I don't like what the coach came out and said, but people were over hyping it up a little too much. But yeah, you don't want to hear that coming. Or sorry, from the owner. Yeah, you don't want to hear that coming from your owner. I don't like the decision to put in Tyrod Taylor. It seems like that's where they're going. Keep Justin Fields in, but number 32 for the Jets. Number 31 is the Saints, moving up a spot. This is where they belong. Number 31 for the Saints. Number 30 is the Titans. This is also where they belong. Who's going to come out with a great pick in next year's draft? The Jets, Titans, or Saints? That's the real question now between these three teams. Who's going to win next year's draft? Number 29 is the Bengals. Great game by Flacco, but it doesn't move me. As the game got closer and closer, I was kind of thinking they might pull off a win here this week versus Steelers. They ended up doing it in a shootout. Their defense still looked terrible, though. Obviously, still one of the worst defenses in the league. Flacco had a big game, but he always has a couple or a few games like that every single season. So don't get too hyped up on Joe Flacco. Bengals still at number 29. They stay where they are. Dolphins moving down 2 spots with that loss versus the Browns. Tua, he's Tua. And I told you before the season, I told the Dolphins they need to rebuild. I told them to trade away Tyreek. Now he's injured. Now their season is done. I told them they need to move on from Tua. If you didn't believe me, please believe me now with my other takes. This Dolphins team is done. But we've known that for weeks now. Number 27 is the Cardinals moving down a couple spots. Doesn't matter if it's Jacoby Brissett or if it's Kyler Murray. This team is not winning games. Number 26 is the Browns, moving up a spot. Huge win over the Dolphins, but I still need to see this offense consistently play well. Judkins, he's maybe having a rookie of the year season right now, and he's looking like an amazing replacement for Nick Chubb. I don't think he's going to be what Nick Chubb was before he got injured. I have him right here, Nick Chubb, one of my favorite Browns players of all time. But I want to talk more about Nick Chubb, but we're talking about power rankings right now. But anyway, Judkins is looking awesome, but the rest of the offense still has a lot to prove. They do have the number 1 defense in the league, though, in my opinion. Number 25 is the Panthers, moving down 4 spots. Some other teams moved up, and the Bryce Young is out. I don't think Andy Dalton's going to be a lot worse than him, but Bryce Young wasn't playing a little bit better the last few weeks than he had been in the beginning of the season. I think they'll still be playing right around where they're at, though, but I just had to change up my rankings a little bit. Other teams had to move around a little bit. Panthers, I pretty much still have the same outlook on the Panthers, though. Number 24 is the Raiders. They need Brock Bowers back. I need him fast, but even when he comes back, this team is not going to be a top 10, maybe they'll eventually hit 15 on my list. I don't see it happening, though. I think I predicted them to be 6-11 before the season, and it's looking like that's going to happen. They might be even worse than that. Number 23 is the Vikings, staying where they are. Close game against the Eagles, but they didn't give me anything to make me want to move them. Number 22 is the Steelers. I had the Steelers at 22. I think this is my 4th or 3rd week in a row having the Steelers at number 22, and people were so hyped about the Steelers, and I told you again and again, do not get so hyped up on the Steelers. They were overrated. Then they lose to the Bengals, a bottom 4 team in my rankings. They just lost to. They don't move down from that because I still think they're a better team than the Bengals. But we knew the Bengals defense wasn't good. The Steelers defense played terribly. The Bengals are moving down the field on them easily. Very disappointing game from the Steelers. But I told you this whole time, do not overrate the Steelers so much. They are not a good team right now. Number 21 is the Texans, moving down 3 spots. Of course, we know that their offensive line is not good, but it also looks like CJ Stroud isn't reading the pressure that well. There's been a lot of free blitzers hitting him, and of course some of those have to be blamed on the offensive line, but I feel like maybe some of these he should have, changed something pre-play, because this should not be happening too much, and he should be recognizing that more often. It seems like he gets surprised too much on these free rushers coming in. Number 20, sorry, is the Chargers going down 7 spots, and that might seem crazy to you that the Chargers are at 20. It looked a little crazy to me at first when I was making my rankings. I was like, oh, I got the Chargers at 20 this week, but there was no team above them that they can move up right now. Number 19 is the Cowboys. They continue to have an explosive offense, a top offense in the league, but that defense has got to prove more to me for them to move up my rankings. Number 18 is the Patriots, going down 2 spots. I still kind of have the same look on the Patriots, the same feel on the Patriots as I had before. But they had to move down a couple spots just because some other teams moved up. But they're still right where I believe they were at last week, pretty much. And everyone's getting very excited about Drake May, so everyone's very excited about the Patriots. Let's not get too excited. I still want this Patriots team to have a consistent running game, and if they do, they can definitely move up. Number 17 is the Falcons. It looks like Penix is going to end up playing this week in week 8, but he hasn't been playing well anyway. He needs to start playing a lot better. Falcons at number 17. They moved down 9 spots this week, even more than the Chargers. Number 16 is the Giants, moving up 3 spots. Dart keeps playing awesome. This team keeps playing excited with energy. They choked though that end of the game, and they had a big drive to take the lead there, but it was a lot of just flags. They didn't really have a true march down the field, big drive like the Broncos had late game. Giants at number 16. Speaking about the Broncos at number 15, moving up a couple spots. Clutch win for the Broncos, but you didn't want to see it be that close for them with the expectations that they were talking about before the season. But I think that's really the level they're at. They're close to the Giants this year. They're close to the Patriots. Those are 3 teams which I all like. I liked all of them coming into this year, and they're pretty similar. I had them all with their records. I had the Broncos, I think, 1 game better than the Patriots and the Giants, but yeah, they're all pretty similar. 2 games better than the Giants, but they're all pretty similar. Broncos are a little bit better, and I think they'll show that the rest of the year, but they're close to a middle of the pack in the league, honestly. 14 is the Bears, moving down 2 spots. This team, I think, continues to be kind of underrated. I look forward to seeing what other people rank the Bears at going forward, but number 14 for the Bears. Number 13 is the 49ers, and I had a message from Micah. Let's pull that up. Michael, he's a great guy, Michael. He's been a great player for us, Michael, and we love negotiating with Michael. But anyway, Micah here. Micah said, I agree with almost everything I said. Micah told me he agrees with almost everything that I said. Okay. But he thinks that the 49ers should be moved to about the 16th or the 17th spot because there's really no chance for the playoffs. Now, Micah, I don't know if you mean there's no chance they make it or there's no chance they do good in the playoffs. To me, it looks like you meant there's no chance they make it. And I'll be honest, last week I was a little too harsh with my words. Last week, not my rankings, because I had them at 14 last week. I only moved them up 1 spot. But I think I was a little too harsh on my words, just a little tad bit when I said they have no hope for this season. But when I said that, I was talking about the Super Bowl. Now, I don't want to write them off completely, which is why I said I'm a tad bit too harsh on them. They have a chance to win the Super Bowl, but I would take a lot of teams above them. That's why I have them at 13. But Micah, I think they have a very good chance to make the playoffs. So I'm kind of confused on that one. If you think they're not going to make the playoffs now, it is going to be hard. They have the Rams in their division, who are also 5-2. The Seahawks are 5-2, but the 49ers are 5-2. Now, if the 49ers make the playoffs, I think it's going to have to be a wild card entrance for them. I don't think they're going to beat the Rams for the number 1 seed in the division. Seahawks could also get that, but I don't think it's going to be the 49ers because of all the injuries that they've had. And once again, I don't know if CMC is going to stay healthy, but it really depends on where the other NFC teams are this year, because the 49ers have a very easy schedule and they can definitely make the playoffs. And yes, but that Fred Warner injury is going to hurt them, and yeah, they do deserve to, I think, be at number 13. Now, getting over to number 12 is the Colts, moving up 3 spots. Wow, was I wrong about the Colts before the season? One of the few teams, maybe the only team, where I was really, really wrong about them. 6-1, best record in the league. Colts, they might move into my top 10 soon. Let's see how they keep playing. I want to see them play against some more great teams. Number 11 is the Jaguars, staying right where they are. Now, they had a huge loss versus the Rams, but they had a punt return that got called back. They had a missed field goal, which led them to go for a lot of fourth downs that they might not have gone for, and they failed a lot of fourth down conversions, and they had a lot of drop passes in that second half. So I didn't lose a lot of hope in the Jaguars. I had the Rams at number 1 on my power rankings a couple weeks ago when Puka was healthy. So I expected that the Rams were the better team, but it was a definitely tough loss for the Jaguars. But they stay at number 11. Number 10 is the Seahawks, staying right where they are after a good win versus the Texans. Seahawks defense played awesome. The offense did what it needed to do. Seahawks stay where they are in my top 10. And I want to point out this week, you'll see who else I have in my top 10, but this week, I have 7 teams in my top 10 that are in the NFC. 7 out of the 10 teams in my top 10 rankings play in the NFC. The NFC is winning by a large lot. Apparently, I can't speak in this video, but the NFC is winning by a wide margin in my rankings right now. Let's see if the AFC can pick up some slack, and let's see if I can begin to speak correctly. All right, number 9 is the Commanders, going down 4 spots. You might think that the Commanders could go down even more. I caution you, though, because the receivers should be coming back, Debo and Terry McLaurin next week, and I think Jaden Daniels will play, and I think they're going to play better than what people expect. If Jaden Daniels is out, though, oh, they would move down a lot. They would move down way down, probably in the 20s. And if those receivers weren't coming back, even if Daniels played, they'd probably be out of my top 10. But I think all 3 of those guys are coming back, so I have them at number 9. Number 8 is the Ravens, moving up 22 spots. That is a crazy thing to see in week 8, a team moving up 22 spots. But it's because Lamar Jackson is coming back, a top 5 quarterback coming back onto the team. That elevates this team so much. And I told you when Lamar got injured, this team is nothing without Lamar. And what were they without Lamar? Nothing. When he comes back, they're going to be awesome. But it really shines light on how Harbaugh really is on a hot seat this year. And it might be time for the Ravens to move on. Number 7 is the Bills, moving up 2 spots. They just came off a bye week. They got to get a big win against the Panthers this week. I want to see a blowout against the Panthers. They're coming off 2 losses in a row versus the Falcons and the Patriots. They need a win because the week 9 they're going to play the Chiefs. They need some momentum going into the Chiefs game. Now they're the regular season kings against the Chiefs, so I wouldn't be surprised if they win that game, even if they come off a slow or a cold streak and they have a close game to the Panthers. I wouldn't be surprised if they win that Chiefs game because the Chiefs always look to beat them in the playoffs more than the regular season. But the Bills need to start getting some wins right now. Number 6 is the Packers, staying right where they are. Another team that stayed right where they are. By the way, this is my 7th team that I've listed that has been staying where they are. As we get farther and farther into the season, we're going to see more of that. It's interesting to see how many teams stay where they are this week. All right, Packers stay where they are. Close game against the Cardinals. I want to see them get some bigger wins. Number 5 is the Buccaneers. Right, I had them at 5 in my Week 6 power rankings, and I had them in that 5 to I think 8 range for a while. And finally, I trust Baker enough. I'm comfortable enough with Baker. I move him up to 2, and then he has probably his worst game of the season. They go down to 5. I do think he will rebound, but right now they're at 5. It was very sad to see that Mike Evans injury. It was kind of hard to watch. I felt really bad. I hope he can make a good recovery. That hurt to watch, but I think Bucky, he might be out another week because they have that bye week next week. But if Bucky comes back, this team would obviously maybe move up, or this team would obviously get better, maybe move up a little bit. But Egbuka should have a bigger game next week, and obviously the other receivers have stepped out with Godwin and Evans being injured for so much of this year. So I'm not worried too much about their offense, but they do need a turnaround game for their offense. Really, Baker needs a turnaround. Number 4 is the Rams, moving up 3 spots. Now, like I said, they were my number 1 before Puka got injured, so I moved them down just because of that. They move up a little bit this week because of that big win. When he comes back, should be after their bye. When he comes back, they might move back up to the number 1 spot. They probably will. We'll see. Maybe the team I have at number 1 right now will stay, but I can definitely see the Rams going back up to my number 1 after Puka comes back. Number 3 is the Lions. They have so many weapons on offense. It's so fun to watch this team. And they made some big defensive plays. Aidan Hutchinson made a lot of big defensive plays in that game. That's what the Lions need more of because we know their offense is explosive. But it's going to be hard for this team to stay in my top 3 when Jared Goff is their quarterback. I'm huge on quarterbacks. So the Lions being in my top 3, it's just I'm not as confident in the Lions as other people are because I don't trust Jared Goff as much as other people do. Number 2 for me is the Eagles. I expect them to win this week versus the Giants, get some revenge, and big game for the receivers, big game for Jalen Hurts. This team is this team is one of the best teams in the league. There's no denying that. Eagles at number 2. Number 1 is the Chiefs. I got another message from Michael. Bad contract negotiations with Michael. But another message from Micah. He said he could see the Chiefs being in top 5, maybe even top 3. But number 1 is he couldn't see that number 1 because the Chiefs were 3-3 before last week. Now they're 4-3. Got a huge dominant win over the Raiders. But Micah, let me put something into perspective for you. So the Chiefs are 4-3 right now. Here's the other teams that I have in my top 10. The Eagles 5-2. The Lions 5-2. The Rams 5-2. The Buccaneers 5-2. The Packers 4-1-1. The Bills 4-2. The Ravens 1-5. I mean, that's crazy that the Ravens are 1-5. Let me actually talk a little more about the Ravens real quick. I got too ahead of myself earlier. The Ravens and the Steelers. I need to talk about them for 1 second. The Ravens need to win out. Now, the Steelers I have them at 22, but the Steelers still might win this division. These matchups versus the Steelers are going to be so crucial for the Ravens. They almost have to win out. They're going to have to win. They can maybe afford 2 losses for the rest of the season. Because like I said, I don't think the Steelers are a good team, but they're definitely going to get more wins. And the Ravens, they're going to need to win out. They're a 1-5 team in my top 10. They need to almost win out this season because it's looking like they're going to need to win the division or be very close to it to even make the wild card, But if they can win that division, obviously they'll make it in. And they can because the Steelers are going to drop some games, but they need to beat the Steelers 2 times. It's going to be tough if they only beat the Steelers once. Now, getting back, though, it's crazy that the Ravens are 1-5 and a top 10 team, but I don't think you can say that the Ravens are not a top 10 team when Lamar is there. Anyway, Commanders also 3-4 and Seahawks 5-2. That's my top 10. But as you'll see, Micah, most of those teams had 2 wins. The only one that had 2 losses. The only one that had 1 was the Packers, who also had a tie. So the Colts have the best record in the league. They have 1 loss. They're not in my top 10 yet. I don't know if you'd put the Colts at your number 1, but the 3 losses doesn't really move me too much. It doesn't really affect how I view the Chiefs because there's so many other teams with 2 losses. I said it last week. I'm gonna say it again. There's so many good teams. I mean, you start at number 20, the Chargers, all the way through my top 20. Those are all good teams. There's no really standout amazing teams this year. So, if you could put the Chiefs down a little bit, I would value your opinion. I wouldn't completely disregard it, but I do think the Chiefs are number 1. I don't think them having just 1 extra loss than some other teams in my top 10, most other teams in my top 10 should move them down. And now I think you might have saw from that last dominant game, you saw that they had a top, maybe top 5, definitely top 10 defense in the league. And of course, I've been saying it all year. I'm going to keep saying it every week. I'll tell you, Mahomes is the best quarterback in the league. So you have the best QB. You have a great defense, one of the best in the league. Then you have Rashee Rice coming back. I didn't know how good he'd be coming back off that torn ACL. He played great though. Micah, I don't know who else to put on my number 1. I mean, if the Rams were healthy, it'd probably be at number 1. But this Chiefs team is too good. And like I said, I love quarterbacks. I have to keep them at number 1. And that's my 8th NFC team. Or sorry, that's one of my only 3 AFC teams, and it's my number 1. So the AFC does get the bragging rights there. But once again, 7 NFC teams in my top 10 this week. The Chiefs stay at 1. They had a dominant victory. But let me know what you thought about my rankings. I'm going to put my email once again down below. Send me videos and send me audio messages. Only the audio will be played in my next video. Thank you so much for supporting the Sandbar Playbook. My name is Aidan Egizio. If you want to watch another video, you can click here. If you want to subscribe, you can click right here. So thank you so much. Make sure you comment what you thought, like, and subscribe. I really appreciate it. I'll see you next time.